guys do from all wars. But probably some more of us than average do because of the kind of response we get from people. And it took a long time for that to change. It's amazing because I still talk to college students, and when I think of college students, I think of, you couldn't get a date when if you were in the military on a college campus in 1970. Now we go to college campuses and talk to these kids, and we're given a great deal of respect, and it just blows me away. I get tense when I go to a college campus because I feel that we're going to get called names. And when we're shown this kind of respect, it's just amazing to me. These kids didn't grow up with the attitude that their parents had towards us. And they see the Vietnam War in a very different way.
And that's a result of all of your hard work over the years. I truly believe that.
Well, there were a lot of us. There were a lot of us that have worked for a very long time, that have given our lives to trying to make it better. And my attitude has always been, I was given the gift of having survived, and I was given the gift of having been able to understand. When I read a government document, I understand what it says. And government documents are usually done in a kind of doublespeak that the average person really doesn't know what they're reading. I mean, I've had veterans say to me, I got this letter from the VA. What's it say? What are they really telling me? Now, when you have a form letter for 500,000 people, it has to cover all the bases, and it has to be written that way, and I understand that. But it's mostly blue-collar guys that serve in the military, and some of them don't. They don't speak the language. And so it's been a real privilege for me to be an interpreter.
Right.
And to do what I can. And the other part of it is, despite everything else, and I've said it before, I came home wounded, and I was 100% disabled for 10 years. Now I've got cancer from Agent Orange, and it will end my life. I have no regrets. When I think about how much I love America, it's my family and my community and my state. It's tangible, it's real to me. And when I look at films like Saving Private Ryan and I realize the sacrifices that were made by my father's generation, I'm in awe of what some of the veterans here have gone through in their lives. They didn't have a childhood, they grew up in a depression. And then they went to fight a war that had no end unless there was victory or defeat. That was how it was going to end. That may have been the last noble war that we were ever involved in, because wars are a lot of things, but they're not noble. And we need to understand that. There's been a movement lately that really disturbs me. It's the idea that peace is not a patriotic value. The framers of the Constitution never intended us to be warmongers. The idea of a democracy was never to exploit third world countries or our neighbors. Peace is a patriotic goal, and the media and some of the politicians have attempted to take that away from us recently, and we need to take it back.
As we wind down here with our interview this morning, are there any kind of last thoughts that you'd like to share? Your interview will be shared with future generations. Generations who will not have grown up knowing the current war in Iraq and Afghanistan.
I hope, I guess, that the generations who see this don't know any war in their lifetimes. I guess that would be what I wish for the America that I fought for. I believed it was something we had to do at the time. As I've gained some insight with years and have children of my own, I know that in my heart, the only war is justified is one of our national survival or defense. We are not doing a particularly good job finding the terrorists in Afghanistan. We've chosen instead to start a war against a sovereign nation in Iraq, whether he was a dictator or not. It was a sovereign nation, and we had no right to do that, in my opinion. And it breaks my heart for every one of these kids that is dying or being wounded over there, especially the way it's all become. When we did the shock and awe and the 24-hour CNN coverage of it, I was horrified that nobody was speaking up and saying, is this necessary? It seemed to me that we, at a point when we invaded that country, if the government had asked us to invade Canada, the people would have been willing to do it. When we package patriotism like a new brand of cereal, that's a very, very dangerous thing. And I hope the generations that see this live in a society where that kind of thing isn't tolerated anymore, and where you don't raise children to die in another country for oil or money or anything else.
Well, I'd like to thank you for sharing your story with me this morning and with the Veterans History Project. And with all of my interviews, and as often as I can, I'd also like to thank you, Rick, for your service to our country. I think that's really important.